And now it's 5 p.m. So Sandy, we can start whenever you're ready. We have quorum. There's 4 members of the landmark commission, so we should be good to go.
Okay, let's let the meeting begin.
And then I will just say right now, before we get into it, if you guys ever have any items you want to talk about in the meeting, just feel free to email them to me and I'll add them to the agenda. Just because our open meetings law, it requires us to just discuss, what's on the agenda. And so if there is something you want to discuss, just feel free to email me whenever you remember, and I'll be sure to add it to our next agenda. Okay.
So we're on the minutes now, Sandy. I did make more or less what Daphne described as a point of order when one item not on the agenda was briefly brought up last meeting. So we should have in the minutes reflected that I made a point of order that the item discussed was not on the noticed agenda, and that point of order was recognized by the chair, which was you, and discussion moved on. So I can't remember whether that happened whether that specific discussion happened under agenda item 1 or during future.
Yeah, I'll re-listen to the recording and I'll add that to our minutes.
Great. So, can we approve the minutes with that addition? Has anyone looked at the minutes and decided that these are good?
And make a motion to approve.
Yeah, the chair can also just approve the
Yeah,
minutes with
Sandy
the
can
correction.
approve them.
Yeah, you can do that as the chair.
You have the
Do what?
power.
You can just approve the minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, so as
Right.
what you just said was
All
totally.
right, let's just approve with those changes.
Yeah, okay.
Charles. Now, I'm unfamiliar, the next time we talk about the items on the agenda, the Ziegler Farms, I'm completely unfamiliar with that.
Yeah, well, that's why we have right here to talk about it. But I don't know, Charles, do you want to maybe give a little background about why we added it to our agenda?
Okay, yeah, so I can give the background from where I came into this. So this came before the Public Works Committee because Graber Road was getting extended. And there was discussion about naming the portion of Graber Road that was the extension, Johann Ziegler Way or Ziegler Family Farm Road or some other permutation of those. And for a variety of engineering reasons which aren't germane to our consideration here, that was not something that the city engineer felt comfortable, or Public Works as a committee felt comfortable moving forward with. However, I was in the meeting and I thought with my landmarks commissioner hat for a minute, the Ziegler family has been in Middleton for an incredibly long time, and that land has been a farm in Middleton for a long time. Middleton, of course, has a rich agricultural history, which precedes our transition over to a suburb. And we have an opportunity here to recognize a very prominent local family that's been here for, 160 years almost at this point, and their land and what it was used for, as well as the history of it. And I thought we could probably send this over to Landmarks Commission, because I think there's a way for us to recognize this in a way that is more appropriate for the city and more in line with what this committee does.
Keep it slightly.
Yeah, that door should be kept just a little bit open.
Yeah,
There we go.
that's good.
So that is how it started. And Greg, if you'd like to give the background and a discussion of your family history, and
Sure.
that would be wonderful.
Well, Johann is our patriarch in this country. And He came, I'm not quite sure why.
Can you state your name?
Greg Ziegler.
Ziegler, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know, so I'm
Oh, sure.
unfamiliar with the Ziegler farm, but please go ahead.
We're located off of High Road. And we're between North Side subdivision and Red Tail
Mhm.
and
This is
Misty
the area
Valley.
that's shown
Mhm.
on the screen. This was just, at our last plan commission meeting, I pulled it up. But so the Graber Road that Charles had talked about is down here. And then this is the portion that's being, redeveloped, and that's why they were at Public Works and Plan Commission. So, yeah, go ahead, Greg.
I'm not quite sure when Johann came to the US, but he must have settled in Walworth County initially.
Mhm.
And then I assume that he moved to the Middleton area in 1866. And he would have been just short of 50 at that time. And he had 9, possibly 10 kids by that time.
Hey, that was the labor, You're on the
Yes.
farm. You're on the farm.
Among other things.
Right.
Not as many TV channels.
So are both these portions part of Ziegler Farm?
Yes,
Okay.
it's the outlined
Yeah. this
black
little
area.
Black outline.
Do you know how many acres that was?
It's 85.
85. That's a good portion of land.
Although even by, I think, standards in the early 20th century, it was considered small.
Mhm.
Normally, a farm is like 160 acres.
Mhm.
So a full section. But I think that we ended up with 85 because of Johann had 10 kids.
Mhm.
And I think he gave the option to each one of them to have some land. And indeed, quite a few of them did end up with farmland that he had owned.
Now you are great grandson?
Yes,
It's
Yeah.
good to know. Do you have pictures?
none of Johann.
No?
I do have one of my great grandfather and grandmother.
Mhm.
In fact, my great grandmother lived until 1968.
That's pretty good.
She was 100.
Wow, good for
Impressive.
her. Do you have any photographs you could give the historical society?
Oh, sure.
Because I think they would be interested.
Yeah.
If Christy was here today, she's on our board, and she's also on that board, she might be interested. Maybe you could forward any pictures on to Daphne.
Okay.
And if you don't mind, if you even have pictures of houses, which we're always interested in,
Yeah.
Okay.
architecture or people, and who they are, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. So Theodore was, I think his oldest son, ended up with the most land
Mhm.
after Johann died. And from what I can figure out, he basically owned everything on Highway 12.
Mhm.
At least starting with Century Avenue,
Oh,
and I'm pretty much going to Ashton.
Sounds like you donated the land for the church in Ashton.
Oh,
Well, I don't know if Johann did or Theodore, but one of the relatives did.
because the Acres, Bill Aker owns quite a lot of property out there on Highway 12. Before Ashton, and it looks like he maybe even farmed then. Do you know him? They're right
No.
on, okay.
But I think I know where you're talking about. It's the stone house.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous house.
Mhm.
Let's see, which one was it now? Theodore owned the land before that, and it's still in the Ziegler family.
Okay.
Reggie owns it now,
Mhm.
and his dad was Leo A, I think.
Do you have like a chronological order of the family?
A tree?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's,
that would be good to have.
we
too.
didn't put it together, but a lot of
Yeah,
relatives have.
that would be wonderful to have.
Um,
So are we looking at this to rename a street after Ziegler, or have we done that already?
Not yet. We
No,
were
okay.
hoping to with the Graber, because we felt that we grew up in the time where Graber was industrial.
Mhm.
And a lot of the people in the family felt that we didn't want an industrial name going into the subdivision,
Yeah,
but Sean didn't like that idea. And neither did the Public Works, and the way they framed it, I can understand. But what I had hoped to do was reconfigure the area at Lynn Street. Because now it has a slope into the subdivision. No, it's on the other side of the,
Oh, this one here.
yes. Well, no, it's just a little up. No, too far.
You're looking at where Graber and Misty Valley approximately, but
Now it's a curve, and I was suggesting that having that curve in there will promote speeding and also become a commuter arterial for the commuters north.
I do just want to caution that we're into discussing
More public
something
works.
that's
Oh, okay.
more
And we
public
don't
works.
know anything
Yeah.
about that
So-
except for Charles.
Yeah.
But-
so he would know.
Just want to put one of our landmark rocks, right?
Make it a roundabout.
That would have the effect of slowing traffic, but
Okay, so-
I was going to propose that if we are placing an historic marker, that is a prominent location near the entrance to the subdivision. So we could have, if we do decide to move forward with the historic marker, I think that would be a good high visibility spot for it to be where we could get the most possible eyes on it.
That's a great idea.
Daphne, can you pull up the map again? There looks to be some green space. Is that a playground? Or
there's-
that's stormwater and then there's,
Yeah, so these three areas are stormwater.
mhm.
And then there is a small park kind of in the middle here.
Well, that's really not a park, it's just an access.
It's real,
Greenway
Sure.
access.
Okay.
yeah, and well, I think they did speak about putting in a park there. It was during plan commission, I think. So there might be, like, it'll be like very like a trail and maybe like a playground or something, like very minimal. But there is like open space that's publicly accessible here. And then this side, all on the west is like for wetland and stormwater. So there are possibly a couple options of where, a stone or something could go.
On the other side,
Side.
some people, yes, some people were suggesting on the path
Oh, yeah.
there, that would get quite a bit of exposure.
Maybe at
That's
at the intersection of the two proposed houses, that would be,
Right here.
because the Ziegler, the farm went all the way across this road, right? High
Yes.
road. Yeah, I mean, for walking traffic, that might be a
Yeah.
potential.
Yeah, so the reason that we put it on the agenda tonight is just to talk, because I don't, Charles and I was talking before the meeting and we were like, I don't think Middleton has any with like Wisconsin historical markers. We do? Do we have one?
I believe we have one for the conservancy.
Okay. Okay, yeah, but
Oh.
I mean, yeah, other than that, we don't really, like, this landmark submission, not since I've been staff, we haven't done any historical markers, and so, since the Ziegler family is such a large portion of, Middleton, or, was a huge portion of Middleton, we thought it would be, like a good idea to see if the Landmarks Commission would be interested in helping to set up the historical marker or apply for the historical marker. So I just put the general, instructions for it here since we've, really never done one before. And I will note that, there is a $250 application fee, and then on top of that, the marker itself is like the cheapest one is like $800 something. And so our entire budget right now is $1,000. So I don't think we can. I don't know if we can, monetarily support it, but I think I could see where the committee would maybe do the application fee.
Yes.
Pay for the application fee, and then help develop the application for the historical marker, something
We
like
should
that.
tell Greg that we're in
Yeah,
the process of redoing our ordinances and also doing the applications. So far, we haven't had that online.
right, yeah,
So we're redoing it because they didn't have one before. So that's why it seems so up in the air.
yeah, so.
And that complete.
Yeah, so we just wanted to bring this to you guys to see if you guys would be interested in doing something like that, what is the level of support, the Landmarks Commission is willing to give, and then, yeah, even if it's just like helping research or helping to apply for grants or something to
Yeah,
pay for something.
Absolutely.
I think this
Many
is-
grants in
yeah.
Wisconsin.
I really appreciate you coming in and telling us about your family. I think this would be a wonderful way to honor them and keep them around, that memory of them being there. Just to clarify earlier, there's one marker at the Pheasant Branch Conservancy. It's off of Pheasant Branch Road when you go down the hill. And it's the second parking lot on the right if you're going outside of town.
Mhm.
Where there are multiple paths that you can
Yeah.
get in. And it's a really small,
Okay.
small one,
Yeah,
but it's for the encampment that was there.
oh, that might actually be like just right outside the Middleton.
Maybe it's in the county.
The county, yeah,
It's listed as Middleton,
right,
the Historic Society's
okay.
website. So maybe.
Yeah,
Greg Elizabeth is our liaison to the Wisconsin Historical Society.
Oh,
yeah.
Our direct connection.
great.
Yeah, I work there. I work with Fitzy. He's really wonderful to work with, really easy and communicative, which is wonderful. And I actually help him with a team of wordsmithing what goes on the marker. So I'd be happy to, help draft something because of the size and dimensions. You're limited to the number of characters that are on there. So there's a lot of wordsmithing to try to relay the significance you're trying to convey on it in a short amount of time.
Right.
So I don't know if it's something that you would like us to be a part of, but if you are interested in going that path, I'd be happy to help you out with
I
that.
would suggest that you two put together an application, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If everyone agrees.
Yeah, I mean, we can vote for that. I think it would also probably be helpful for the development team if we gave them some idea of where we would like to place this, because we're going to need to do that
Yeah,
for the application. So,
There's also a request to disturb, so it's making sure there's no archaeo sites in the area too. Again, if you're gonna be constructing some houses there, I would think that you're
Yeah.
good to go, but the
They
office,
probably would've done that already, would they?
I would hope,
Yeah.
but they do check with the Office of State Archaeology to make sure where the placement is gonna go, since it is ground disturbing, that it's in a good spot.
Mm.
So are you requesting like a couple different options, or does that sound like a good idea?
I mean, my reading of, and Daphne, feel free to, or Greg or anyone else here, feel free to correct me if your read of the emails was different, but it seemed like they really wanted to have the location ironed out by the time they submitted final plat. So I think it would be best for us to make a decision about the location that we'd like
They being
the
the
developer.
the developer. And who is the developer?
It's
Viridian.
Viridian, yeah,
Oh, Meridian, okay.
yeah.
So we could put it at the intersection of those two footpaths, like John suggested. And that would be consistent with our other marker's location on a footpath, right? The encampment one is here, or is that?
It's right at the parking lot.
Oh, it's at the parking lot? Okay.
Yeah, right as you're about to enter the main path into, I can point to it.
I think that's a county. Pretty sure there's a county sign there, so.
It's a Wisconsin historical marker. But it's an old one.
Is it on a post in this?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there are several ways to do it, stone, a post, and then there's other ways to do it too, so.
Okay.
Choice.
Yeah, I don't know what we're looking at a colored map. I don't know I made the suggestion. I agree with the walking because people are walking like to stop and read things, but yeah, I don't, when it says wetlands,
Yeah, that's.
I don't know what it's gonna, you're gonna have to put a piling down. 10 feet. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right. You see a.
it could be
shadow.
maybe a primary and alternate location. Do you think that might?
Which location were you thinking?
Well, the two, where the proposed footpaths cross, like right around in there. But again, I don't know what
Yeah, that's gonna end up being wetlands, stormwater, and someone's backyard. Well,
so where were you?
That isn't stormwater. I think it's the greenway, the setback from the wetland.
Yeah, this light
yeah.
green should
It's
be a
100 feet.
setback. So
Okay,
we
yeah,
should be
that'll be
fine
setback.
if it's in the
Yeah.
setback area, since it is pretty minor.
Yeah, I was also thinking of that section of Graver, where it intersects, Misty Valley, or where it intersects High Road. If we were going with a more prominent marker that could be, seen.
I suppose those areas, it's gonna be more people driving and they're
Yeah.
probably not gonna see it when they're driving
Right.
and pay
And-
much attention to it.
And
Exactly.
is there gonna be a sidewalk on the west side of High Road?
I cannot.
I would
recall
guess, yes.
specifically.
Because from now there's one to the city
Yeah,
line.
right,
that-
right, and then
that
it
goes down
stops.
The hill and it
Right,
just stops,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Looking forward to that one.
Although it's funny because when they were gonna put it in, my dad told them, don't expect me to shovel that.
Can't blame him for that.
It was okay to put it in, but he wasn't gonna shovel it.
Alder Haniro has her hand raised.
Oh, yes, Lisa, please, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So this is in District 6, which I represent, and so I'm here to support the Ziegler family's request. I think this is a great idea to have a historical marker. There will be sidewalks, that's the plan, on both sides of High Road. Whether or not that happens easily remains to be seen, and exactly where it's going to go is another question. I also wonder about the need for vehicle access to install and maintain the marker, so that could pose a problem with the intersection of the two footpaths. I was going to suggest looking at the little path that's north of the park, Daphne, right there. I think that would probably get a lot of visibility from people going up and down the hill, either to get to the park or to get down to Graber Pond. So that might be a location to consider. It's also closer to the street, so it would be easier for maintenance purposes. Thanks.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, I think at a park would also be really great because, well, depending on the side, they'll probably have a small park sign there anyway. And then,
Mhm.
you could also add the historical marker.
yeah, and maybe we get lucky and that park becomes at least informally known as Ziegler Park
That'd be cute.
because of the marker.
And then do you know whether, I know they talked about moving the path that's on right next to Graber Pond, they were gonna move it closer. to where our property was so that it's not as exposed to the water if we get extra rain? Do you know if they are gonna move it?
That would be ideal, but I don't know if that's going to be possible.
Okay,
That is a great question since it has flooded in the past
Yeah,
and
the boards were
maintenance and,
floating.
yeah, yeah.
So can we say the location is up in the air at this time?
I think if you guys could pinpoint, like one or two specific locations that you would prefer, I think that could help at least the developer who's trying to figure out the plat to have, just one or two options.
Sure.
Well, I talked, actually, Matt had mentioned to me Med Briggs from Viridian. He's their head developer.
He's the
Section
main
person.
guy that's communicating with everyone,
Right.
yeah.
He said that he would favor the cross or the path, someplace where the path is.
Okay,
So that's location A, and then location B would be the
northeast corner of the park at the Mode Trail.
That is definitely going to be a park now.
or is that going to be a park?
I
It's-
think so, yeah. It was voted on by Plan Commission, I believe, to
Oh,
to
really?
get that
Okay.
to be a part.
Yes. Yep, that's how the zoning code was amended.
Mhm. Yeah, and this was like our most updated plat, I think, that we have, so.
So should we leave it that this family and Elizabeth will work together to create the application?
Sure.
And depending on what type you'd like, we could perhaps write a grant. Easily done, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to draft something and send it, I know. There used to be the Pomeroy grant at the Historical Society. I'm not
The
sure.
library has a book specifically for Wisconsin. It has all of the organizations that write grants specifically for
okay.
Wisconsin, yeah.
you said there's different size markers.
Yes.
Yes.
Put a stone on a big stone
Let me see.
and a sign.
Yeah,
You can mount it.
so this is the application for anyone that's interested. You can just find it online and I can send it to you, Greg, if you would like as well.
Okay.
And then as part of the application, they have, all these different options with the price. And so the cheapest option is 16 by 12, and it's 830. And then, you guys could, I mean, if you have the funding to do, bigger and better, by all means, I think we're all supportive of whatever you could do.
Which ones allow LED lights and
That might be something you guys have to install yourself. But yeah, it'll even, it tells you exactly how many characters you're allowed to have, lines and spaces, all of that. So yeah, this is all part of the application that you send over to
Okay,
you guys.
it's good to know.
Elizabeth will give you her email so you can talk back.
I think that the grant that we're looking for, we had discussed at a previous meeting. It's for underrepresented communities largely. So it's this one.
Yeah, I don't know if this would apply. Okay. So we've discussed two locations where the two paths cross, or the northeast corner of the park at the entrance of, where that trail is. And then, yeah, the Zieglers will work with Elizabeth and to do an application. And is the commission supportive of, monetary support or anything like that, or?
That's a question, is it,
Yeah,
as a landmarks, or we as a landmarks commission applying for this? Are we applying for the state marker,
Hmm,
or is the Ziegler family applying for the state?
That's a good question.
yeah.
And if it's a marker and it's significant enough, I would think that the commission that we would income, as far as purchasing the marker and maintaining it, I see it if we feel that it's significant enough, and Ziegler being a large family, a big farm, helped with the creation of Middleton, and before Middleton existed, then we would be the applicants with the endorsement of the Ziegler. I haven't looked at all the application, but I guess I'm just looking to clarify which way we go. I'm not trying to push us, but
No, I think we should vote on it if you like. You want to present that we support that?
yeah, okay. What I need to do, make a motion to that we explore the options of applying for a historical marker, a state historical marker, recognizing the Ziegler family farm vicinity High Road.
And authorizing an amount not to exceed $250 for the application fee.
Oh, yeah, because we don't have any more than that. But it's good. It's good to know we got an alder. Joni, you got to go for that one-time funding. Got an alder's support.
So do we want to vote on, if we all
So,
agree?
yeah, so John made a motion
Yeah.
and then,
I'll second that motion
And does that motion include the application fee?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
with your nice language.
$250 for the application fee.
And Elizabeth's seconded? All in favor?
Aye.
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 great.
Tom was there.
Okay. I
Great.
think that wraps up everything. Did you guys have anything else you needed from our committee or anything like that?
No,
No?
no, this is great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Greg, for everything that you've done in this process. It's a big lift.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
I'm really pulling for the park name now.
I did.
Pulling for the one.
That's.
Name,
Yeah.
Need to-
yeah.
I think Lisa had good points on that, even though I suggested the walking thing, just because people like to read stuff, but I think the vehicle support in that also.
Yeah,
And
I'll
I
note.
like Charles's informal implication of, yeah.
I was curious, were they gonna have some sort of parking lot off of High Road near the path?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is what is put in the plat, I believe. So it's mostly just, all of this is wetland and conservancy land, and then, these are all the homes.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it doesn't look like there's any parking lot.
Do you know if that whole red area is boardwalk or just the dashed?
I think it's just the dashed area.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is like middle of the wetlands.
Yeah.
So,
That's pretty moist through.
Okay, so the solid red would be like hard packed dirt, like the rest of the
Right.
Pheasant Ranch.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
20 or 30 years ago, that was farmland.
Oh, yeah.
But because of all the subdivisions on each side of us,
water's got nowhere to go, but there.
that and I wonder how much, when they put the sewer lateral in, they put it through that area.
Mm.
And I wonder how much, soil they disturbed at the
Mhm.
time. I think they must have disturbed some springs,
Mhm. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's springs over here.
because there's some pretty good flow
Yeah,
in there.
interesting.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you guys for coming. You're welcome to
Yeah.
stay. You're welcome to leave, whatever.
Well, thank you very
suits
much.
yourself.
And the map that you had, would you be able to email that over to us? Because that's more of a complete, that's the most complete map.
Oh,
I've seen of all
okay.
ones.
Yeah, I think, sorry, what was your name?
Gary Ziegler.
Oh, Gary, okay, yes, I'll send that over to you.
Oh, that'd be great.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming. Okay, we should probably look at the potential action and discussion of the Mary's pillars.
Yes. Yeah, so this is actually very similar to, what we just discussed. We had talked about, or we had received a landmark application for the Mary Street pillars. However, due to, after speaking with Jason Tisch, at the Wisconsin Historical Society, he recommended maybe doing a historical marker instead, just because the original structures are no longer there. The original school is no longer there, and the pillars have been reconstructed. And so, we're discussing, possibly doing the same thing, a historical marker for the Mary Street pillars.
This would be a city, our own city landmarks marker or state? State.
I think this one could go, either way. I don't know if it's important enough for a
Be a
state
state.
or a county one.
Yeah.
But from reading, the marker program, they welcome, any type of application, so we could certainly try for it. Thanks for coming. But yeah, I'll leave it to you guys to discuss, because sure.
I wonder, it says Mary Lamb Feltman was the one who requested it.
Yes, and unfortunately, Mary just went under a surgery, so she emailed me and said she wasn't able to make it. But she's been speaking with Ruth over at the Historical Society as well, to see if, they can maybe help monetarily in some way, or with the research as well. So there is interest in getting something on, to recognize the pillars. And so Mary is I think she just wants something to be able to, show, the importance of the pillars, whether it's a marker or, a local landmark or something like that. It could depend either way.
Well, our next step would be then to contact, I know Kathy Olson was very involved in this too. She
Yeah. That's
helped
true.
create it, and she was out there painting some substance on there
Oh, yeah.
to keep it from being, have graffiti on it.
Oh,
But she also was in the ball, one of them was missing the ball and having that reconstructed.
reconstruct.
Yeah. So I don't know if we want to say, throw it back in Mary's lap and say, you want to get with Kathy Olson and talk about what you want, whether it's a stand, a rock, or.
I think they were thinking of having it on the pillar itself, but I can reach back out to Mary to confirm with her if she wanted it to be on the pillar or somewhere else. But I think the main question here is, do we want to go through, another $250 application fee with the historical marker? Or do you think we could maybe do this as like more of a local landmark, since this is more, I guess, local significance? Whereas Ziegler Farm is, they do expand outside of Middleton. So there is more of a logic for, the state or, Dane County historical marker. Whereas this is specifically, the Elm Lawn School or.
Yeah, well, so shall we say that we support Mary and whoever else she works with, whether it be the Historical Society, Kathy, or both, to decide what they want, what type it is. And once they decide what they want, then they can submit it to us. And I think local, right? Everyone agree that it's more on a local level than a state?
I am concerned about criterion 5, where it says the property is a unique and irreplaceable asset to the city and its neighborhoods when the entire pillars were replaced. So it's not quite irreplaceable in that regard, because I commend them filling out this application and providing the history, and the historic photos are wonderful. But because the pillars are not original. They were completely reconstructed. I don't believe it meets criterion 5.
So you're saying,
I think we as a committee have to determine whether it meets the criteria for local landmark listing based upon the information that they have provided to us.
okay, well, I think you have a valid point there,
But
that they aren't.
you're looking at paragraph 4 in the ordinance.
Criterion 5 on the landmark application.
It's page 15 of your agenda.
Yes, Daphne has it
The
up.
property is unique and irreplaceable, it's not.
I think it is somewhere in the order.
It is unique
16.
to the city. Irreplaceable. We did replace, well, someone
Yeah.
replaced
This one
some
just
specific pillars
That's that.
with reduction. But I'm not entirely sure that I'd say that makes them replaceable by definition, first because of the difficulty of finding someone who can still fabricate those. And second, I guess this is because I didn't grow up here. But in Philadelphia, where we have Ben Franklin's house as a historic marker, we have the floor print of Ben Franklin's house because the house itself no longer exists. And that floor print, all of the plaques and quotes, those are all obviously constructed much later after the fact. So I'm wondering if we look at this in terms of a local landmark, perhaps a bit more broadly, the space that the pillars occupy with the reproduction pillars might be able to serve that purpose. For the word. I get that I'm really stretching and splitting hairs here, but I do think that maybe there might be space for us to consider it as fulfilling 5.
I think that I'm familiar with
Yeah,
the
I know you are,
Franklin
yeah.
site. I've been there, but I think that would be meeting criterion 2 because it's identified with the historic personage of associated with events in national, state, and local history, right? So it's just meeting a different criterion. I don't know if we want to go through the ordinance first before taking a look at local landmarks, because the ordinance says that we address local landmarks and following the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation. And that has information that would, I think, guide us in this decision. I do agree that it's amazing that they found the one place in America that reproduces this. It's just, it's a reproduction, not an original feature,
Yeah,
even though it's adorable in my opinion.
and I mean, we could just consider this as meeting criterion 6 because it does. I think meet criterion 6 on its own.
Mhm,
And so if we strike 5, it still meets 6.
mhm. So our decision is to send it back to Mary Tilton,
To see what they want to do,
right, based on that criteria 6.
but and the other options that are may be available to her, I guess.
Yeah,
To get clarification on what they want to do instead of us trying to tell them.
Right,
yeah, especially since she's not able to be president. this
Right,
meeting.
right, agreed.
yeah.
But before we talk about the plaque, we needed to decide whether or not to make it as a landmark site, right? designate the pillars as historical landmarks. I don't think they are yet, are they?
They're not. So, I
So-
mean, that's why there's this application.
Right, so we need to
To
decide if we want to make them
designated.
landmarks
Mhm.
first. And
Well, what does everyone feel about it?
I think before we ask them to decide what they want, we should
Right.
decide whether or not we're gonna
Right,
make them landmarks.
that's correct.
I agreed that, I think it meets criteria 6 and also criteria 1 for a city landmark. I think it's also unique, and I'm gonna get ahead after what I just said, but the fact that that is still a street, that walkway is Mary Street if you look at the county plat map. And it'd be great if we maybe incorporated that somehow into the,
When I moved here in 1979, part of that school was still up.
but anyway, so
Right there, yeah.
that's my opinion.
So it seems like we all generally agree that this meets criterion 6 for designation, so I think we've all, I mean, we might want to vote on it, but it seems like we've all indicated support for designating it as such.
All right, so do you want to go?
I'll move to designate it as a local landmark, having fulfilled criterion number 6. This property provides for this and future generations examples of the physical surroundings in which past generations lived.
Do you support that, Elizabeth?
I do. I second.
Okay.
And John?
Huh?
You agree as well?
Oh, yeah, keeping the suspense, yeah.
So there's a motion by Charles, second by Elizabeth, and then, I mean, Sandy, you could ask each one of us or just call for the
Yeah.
vote, yeah.
Okay, well, we're calling for a vote. Those in favor
Aye.
and any opposed? None opposed. So there we go.
Okay, then, yeah, then I'll reach out to Mary and let her know, and we'll figure out, the plaque and all of that too.
I believe she was gonna contact the historical society to see if they, yeah.
Yeah, I've been in contact with Ruth and Mary, so we'll get together and figure that out. Okay.
Okay, should we talk about the landmarks ordinance?
Let's start with the first one. Yeah, well, we certainly don't have to get through all of it.
No.
We maybe like 10 to 12 minutes until 6, so we can start discussing
Yeah.
and see, yeah. I'll probably do it.
I have a question about under definitions, which is 2.35, 2 definitions. A, you have under section 2.353, earlier it was 2.351. So what is it actually?
So,
It's on the first page.
yeah, so this is
Yeah.
just, I mean, it's just referencing, commission means this commission,
Right.
and then, this is what 2.353 is, the composition and terms.
Okay,
So it's basically just saying, the commission means this commission, and then, all the terms and all of that, the composition is in section 2.353.
okay.
Yeah.
Then I say should we approve that part? Everyone agree?
Yeah.
What are you asking?
Oh,
Yeah.
Are we
under
good with that?
definitions, where
Uh-huh.
it says commission created under section 2.35-3 or parentheses 3, should we all agree that that's a good change? We go through it one by one and
So you
say,
want to go through, each of the changes?
yeah, and sort of, because then we can agree and then go on to the points we don't agree on.
So I have a question. I don't mean to so, and I'm not, it's not a hard stop for me. I'm wondering about that very first purpose and intent, paragraph C. When the property values. I don't know if that's in there just like, well, we don't want to hurt. I don't know that that would be, I don't know. I'm not sure why it's in there.
So my recollection of Jason Tish's discussion of this point during the training meeting was that the stabilize and improve property values is tied to a either Wisconsin Supreme Court or US Supreme
Oh, okay.
Court ruling
Okay,
on whether or not it's a taking.
Oh, yes.
So that's my recollection. Elizabeth, feel free to correct me if you remember. Sandy, feel free to correct me if either of you remember differently.
I think it was the standard language. that
Was
was
what?
okay, that's
standard.
fine. I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
it seems kind of out of place to me,
Yeah.
but but we keep going. I don't have a problem with it.
You're objecting maybe to the wording.
No, it just seems with everything else, it's like, what is this? Anyway, okay,
I think it's to be clear that we're not trying to take
Yeah.
or diminish someone's property. It's,
Okay.
you know, the economics of preservation show that when you have a landmark and you maintain it, you know, that you're not trying to, you know, I don't know
Yeah.
if taking's the right word or,
Well,
but
legally, it's called a
it's a
taking, when the
taking.
government converts
Oh.
someone's property for
Yeah.
public use.
Yeah.
For its own use.
give me a second. All right. Yeah, whatever the Sandy, your paragraph, no, whatever, I didn't pay any attention. Assume
Yeah,
Deb
so
knows.
this is
what-
just, yeah, clarification on
Cool.
what the commission is.
Yeah,
So if we go down to F, definition F, at the very end, we have, the landmark is situated. Can we just substitute located?
So that is highlighted because our attorney just noted that, you know, this or there had been a suggestion to add a definition of historic building just at the end of landmark site. And he just didn't add it after. So basically he highlighted that to say, you know, someone suggested we add a G for historic building. And he just said it doesn't appear to be used anywhere else in the ordinance, so he didn't think it was needed to be added.
So do we just want to leave it there as situated?
I concur with his.
Yeah, city attorney suggestion makes sense.
Yeah.
I'd like to flag for everyone under 6A procedures. I would suggest that we adopt the city attorney's suggestion to add plan commission to the mix for the list of bodies to get notice, and that we strike the Board of Police and Fire Commissioners because its inclusion doesn't serve the purpose that we intended, I think, when we were discussing this, based on the city attorney's comments.
I agree. Does anyone have? a
Yeah,
problem with
I
that?
agree. I agree with his comments. 6.
Yeah, I will say, I did have to notice the police and fire commission when we did our historic district, you know, the public hearings, and I sent it to both the police and the fire chief, and they were both like, what?
Hey,
Yeah.
one thing, since Charles got us to here, is
Yeah.
that distance. I think that's, we changed that somewhere else where it talks about notification.
The 200.
Didn't we
Yeah.
change the distance?
I think we either changed it to 400 or 600 feet.
Yeah.
So we should,
Somewhere else.
Is
It's,
there another point?
it's on another page.
yeah.
One of the highlighted things is we changed it. Anyway, I was just saying we should match whatever it is.
Oh, you know, that is actually the only place in this ordinance, because I just did a word search. That's the only place where the word feet is used. So maybe we made that suggestion and it just didn't get into markup.
Oh, when you searched it, yeah.
So-
Where's that, Daphne, can you know where that
So
is?
it's this 200 feet.
Oh,
So it's noticing, you know, the neighbors and yeah, I think at the last meeting we had discussed increasing it to
Yeah, we did.
like
And
400 or
it's, so it's written
500.
down.
Yeah.
It's written
Yeah.
in your corrections here.
yeah, I agree.
Should have
We
printed
didn't
this
vote
bigger.
on that, right?
I thought,
Well, we kind of agreed on it. I think.
yeah,
Okay.
We
So we
haven't
should-
voted on anything yet, but agreed.
Can I get clarification that we're replacing Plan Commission with the Board of Police and Fire Commission?
Yeah.
It's the other way around.
Other way,
Yeah.
That, yeah, we're replacing, yeah,
what the lawyer. wrote.
yep. I just want to make sure it wasn't a recommendation to the Plan Commission.
yeah,
No, it's just notifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's, oh, no, it's, if we're incorporating the city attorney.
Yeah.
Changes, then it would be, the commission may establish landmarks, landmark sites, and recommend to the common council the creation of historic districts.
Mhm.
I believe
Mhm.
the attorney's recommendation would be to frame this, or would be to have this read, recommend to the plan commission and to common council.
Yes,
And when there are multiple bodies that issue different recommendations, then ultimately common council makes a judgment. So that it doesn't change who ultimately decides on this, but it does add the plan commission into the mix of bodies that may have an opinion. And I think it does make sense to have the plan commission issue their own recommendation. And then it's up to council to decide. We would be the body that, of course, is the expert body on that. But this happens all the time with public works. We will make a recommendation periodically. Another committee, which we work closely with, such as the Pedestrian Bike Transit Committee, will make its own recommendation. And then council will look at the two recommendations, look at what passed out of the committees, and make a determination. They tend to side with what comes out of Public Works, because Public Works is committee for things. So I don't see this as a huge roadblock. I think it's
I
useful.
think it could be a roadblock though, so it's not something that I'm entirely comfortable on right now. I kind of would prefer a beat to think about it. Because I don't think we should be recommending to another commission. We're recommending to the council. The council looks to us, as you said, the experts on this. The planning commission is not an expert on historic properties.
yes.
I think they should be aware of this and they should be informed because that could add to whatever they do in their committee. But we are recommending to the council, the planning commission is on the same level as us.
Yes,
Does that make sense?
Yes, I agree with you. We're notifying
Right,
the plan commission. We aren't recommending to the planning commission.
right,
We're notifying.
notifying.
Yes, that's what I agree with that.
Yeah, it just says, I mean, each such board shall respond to the commission by filing its comments.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, you know, you guys would still make that final decision.
Yeah, and I mean, if we were to put plan commission in that section,
That's fine. If the plan commission feels strongly enough to issue its own recommendation to council, they can actually just do that anyway.
Right,
So,
So it would just be plan commission down here
yeah,
and then not here.
right.
yeah, and with the Daphne, I can't remember offhand, how frequently does plan meet? Is
Plan
that
commission
a
meets
twice?
2 weeks.
yeah, that's twice monthly. Okay. Yeah, so they'll have time within the 30-day window if they want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
One addition, in other ordinances I was looking at the very bottom of that paragraph, it says the commission shall cause such designation to be recorded in the office of Register of Deeds of Dane County. In some places that there's a fee, and we should perhaps call out whether that fee is our responsibility or the owners. Should we not?
That is, yeah, that's a good catch, Sandy.
On the.
So, are we looking at 10C for sales?
Looking at 6B.
No, it's still
Oh,
6A,
oh,
it's
six-
just at the very,
oh,
the very
6A.
last
Six,
sentence.
yeah.
Yeah, we should probably make 10C and 6A consistent for Payer. 10C is the only other
Oh,
place in the
shall
ordinance where we
notify.
talk about deed recording.
Okay,
10C, let's see.
Um,
Right. Do we know what that fee is, Daphne?
I'm not familiar with it.
Should we find out what the fee is before we vote on it?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if it's $235, we might say, wait a minute, that's not.
Yeah, that's
Out
a
of our-
fourth of our budget, yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
so let's find out what that cost is.
okay, yeah, that's a good catch, Sandy.
I have the Dane County Register of Deeds website up. Recording deeds, mortgages, land contracts, satisfactions, and other documents, $30 per document, regardless of number of pages. Certified survey maps, $30. Termination of decedent's property interest forms, $30. And then copies are either $1 or $2. Excuse me. So, but yeah, I think we'd be looking at $30
Okay,
based on their website.
is that something, Elizabeth, we should also alert the state to? The State Historical Society, that we're doing that? I mean, shouldn't they be notified? In certification of historic preservation ordinances, it does,
I don't know
We
if we have
shall-
a local landmark.
This is sticky. Technically, their state is supposed to maintain a database of landmarks.
Hmm,
However, because landmarks change like they
yeah,
just did today,
yeah,
staying apprised of that information is very challenging. So we can let them know.
should we put that in the ordinance that not only are we paying the $30 then, the commission?
Well, I think,
Well, and is that applied to city property, like the designation? Is the city the owner of this? Is that what it says on the
Well, so
landmarks
this would be,
application?
you know, if anyone, you know, came in with the landmarks application, right now, we don't have a fee. for the
Right,
Landmarks application also.
yeah,
And so if anyone wanted to apply for a landmark, then, you know, and it passes everything and, you know, we do the hearing and it passes. Then, you know, it's basically who, you know, the commission would record it, but who would pay that fee is what is the question. So,
Right.
I mean, we could say, you know, later on vote to have an application fee and then, you know, have the $30 be the fee and then, you know, that way.
Yeah,
that
it
sounds
transfers
great.
over.
yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds.
Way I
good.
read it, I just read that it's the commission's and therefore the city's responsibility
Yeah.
because
I mean, right, yeah.
it says the notification thereof shall be sent to the owner's notification shall also be given. So I see it as the commission's and the commission's says, funny, it says shall cause such designation to be recorded. Shall cause, I don't know if that's It tells you to,
Shall-
it tells
shall-
you to notify all these people, and then you shall cause.
Yeah,
I,
legalese, it's consistent with C's wording.
Shall,
Yeah, so 10C, which is the only other
Where we notice.
uh place where we discuss recording
Yeah.
in this ordinance. In the event
yeah,
of such a rescission, the commission shall notify the city clerk, building inspection superintendent, and the city assessor of same, and shall cause the same to be recorded at its own expense in the office of the Dane County Register of Deeds. So I move that we make the language
Consistent.
consistent between those two passages.
That we would pay that, or we would, we meaning the city.
Well, it would be
It would
the,
be the landmark.
we, the Landmarks Commission, it would
Yeah.
come out of our $1,000 budget.
Yeah.
So, you know, we may want to consider,
you want to add that recorded at its own expense phrase?
yeah,
Yeah.
Then it's the same phrase both times. Is that what you're suggesting?
yeah, and then we just add a section in the ordinance for a fee, which covers the cost. You know, we still end up taking up some amount of staff time. That also comes out of our commission's staff time budget, such that it may exist. But at least that way we're revenue neutral on the fee itself.
Does everyone agree?
Mhm. Yeah, I like that. And then it's clear your application fee is going directly towards this.
Yeah, actually, what we might want to do for that portion of the ordinance, instead of doing a dollar amount, we just make it clear that it's just whatever the recording fee
Oh,
happens to be from the Dane County Register of Deeds. That way,
If it changes.
yes, you don't have to update the ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
Good foresight. Inflation.
You know, sometimes it does go down.
Be able to buy a farm
Be
for $10.
Yeah, hasn't gone that far down.
While we're on that page, do we want to just authorize the one at the very top, of that page? Just that one, the way it's written, looks. And Conservation Office, and also prepare and make available. Should we approve those two as well?
other duties.
So I guess my question for students is, what section do we actually, there's no section that discusses fees in the ordinance.
Yes.
Okay, where do we want to insert the fee section, or do we want to just leave that to the discretion of the city attorney? I'm strongly in favor of the second.
Attorney, all the way. Fully support that. They're all knowing.
Okay.
Since we're talking cash, that number 4 there. We don't have a budget that.
I guess it's something that we
Something
can make
future.
available digitally.
We put, well, we put it in the ordinance, and then once the common
Yeah.
council approves the ordinance, then we'll say, hey, you gotta give us money to go.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be a budget request that we
Yeah.
would have to make, and right now we don't really have hard numbers to figure it out. So that's something that if we approve that section, Daphne would get
Yeah.
stuck figuring out.
Well, it's a new requirement, so I'm just
Yeah.
bringing up that
That is
I like it,
good.
and I
Yeah.
think we have something I'd include, but it's something that we'll need to follow up once the
Yeah.
ordinance finally gets approved, to then say, hey, can we get, pamphlets or
Well, like
books
that,
made?
that
Yeah,
booklet
Yeah.
that we're redoing.
Okay.
We're going to write a grant or apply for a grant to
Mhm.
pay for that. And right now, when people ask for, well, what are your landmarks? basically the historical society
It's just, yeah.
prints it out
Mhm.
and gives it to you. I mean, and they have it in color. So that's taken care of. There aren't any real
Yep.
pamphlets.
Yeah. But I mean, it could be, I mean, we could definitely do a better job of putting information on our website, or even just, linking the Historical Society on our website,
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
now that list is obsolete.
Yes, yes, it is.
Well, yeah,
It is.
we'll see, yeah.
Sure, so.
Oh, he's at the library. I
Oh,
need to go
okay.
grab him.
They close at a certain time?
Not right now.
Oh.
I think after 6:30 is all I know,
Okay.
but
Brief.
I'm gonna have to leave in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Should we,
I mean, so I've noted everything down and I'll send this batch over to the city attorney.
Thank you.
So I had one question on, it's on page, geez, let me see what paragraph for this now.
Yeah.
5, it's 5. B. I feel like I'm playing Battleship here.
You're
Um,
good.
Where it says we got to make a decision or we owe an answer within 30 days. So that's one meeting.
Yep.
That's can be, if we for some reason don't have a quorum, even if everybody agrees that's here, we can't approve it. Is that, should we, this idea expanded to maybe 60 days? Doesn't mean we can't approve it, but I just think we should try and include a timeline that worst case includes 2 meetings in case we don't have a quorum.
That's smart.
can you highlight that, Daphne? what
Yes.
area you're talking about?
So it's
Oh, this one, okay, 4.
Yeah, 4, and it's just the commission shall make this decision within 30 days.
We could do that. We could also do
Next regularly, we could also do next regularly scheduled and convened meeting.
Convened, meaning we had quorum.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, or, some language to indicate that the meeting actually happened. There are 2 options there. One is expanded out 30 days, one is just next meeting.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, what was that last sentence?
So the options are, we could expand it out 30 days to potentially include 2 meetings, which would diminish the possibility of us failing to have quorum in the time frame. Or we could just have at the next regularly scheduled and convened meeting. Of course, the issue that second is that without any sort of time bound, the Landmarks Commission could hypothetically just fail to meet. And
Yeah.
The permit would effectively be in limbo for that entire time period.
Well, what does everyone want to do? Which sounds better? Extend it, make it 60 days, or say the next meeting where there's a quorum? I mean, didn't last year didn't we miss 2 months in a row for
Mhm.
whatever reason?
Yeah,
So we weren't able to proceed ahead, so
yeah.
we need
So-
to somehow,
The language
Yeah.
proposed seems appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, the other, just to flesh this out a little bit more, is that if we do have 30 days and our meeting fails to have quorum, we would be required under this statute to have an extraordinary special meeting for the sole purpose of that item. So provided the issue with quorum is minor, that's fine, but say we all have serious cases of the flu, we'd be deciding this remotely
Yeah.
with 103-degree fevers.
Yeah, it has happened a couple times where we've had to call, special meetings where I send out, like one of those like poll questions and like, when are you available? And it's like by 30-minute increments, so that has happened before. yeah, I think increasing it to 60 days or something as well.
Well, let's see what it says on appeals.
And Elizabeth, you said you had a hard stop at 6:15. It's
Yes.
6:15 now.
Yeah,
So we're gonna lose quorum. So
Okay.
let's
I think
Thomas-
Thomas is.
Thomas
still
is
here.
on.
Thomas is still here.
Yeah,
you're
so
right.
we do
Okay.
have.
Yeah,
we Still have.
okay.
quorum.
Yeah, sorry, y'all.
that's, all right.
That's okay.
We understand.
See you next month.
Okay, so are we looking to the city attorney to perhaps word that for us? Or do we want to decide?
I'm comfortable.
I think we should decide and let the city attorney tell us no.
Okay,
I'm actually comfortable with just the 30 days. And having an extraordinary meeting if necessary. In order to fulfill our obligations. The only issue that does present is if we were to hypothetically have a meeting like right at the end of that window regularly scheduled, but you know about quorum issues in advance of that.
Hopefully, yes.
so you want to leave it at 30 days?
I'm pretty comfortable with 30 days. I think that's enough time for us to have a quorum of the body.
And then, or should we say, or if a meeting is not possible at the next available meeting, or how do we want to say that? Or should we table that and come back to it another time? Because there's some wording in the new Glarus, the new Glarus, ordinances that is, quite different and maybe more acceptable. So should we just table that and go on and bring it up the next time?
Yeah, we can, we can definitely defer that. Just if we do when we take it up again, we should probably look for ways to make it consistent with any other relevant sections of the ordinance and then just default to being consistent
Yeah.
so that people don't have to keep track of, 8 different timelines within the same process.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think like plan commission, we have certain things that have to be approved within certain timeframes. So I can take a look at that and at the next meeting, share, what those timelines are and.
So should we, how do we do that with Robert's rules? We suspend?
Just defer consideration until.
Oh,
the
defer
next-
consideration.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's defer consideration then of the rest of the ordinance. Because we've been here a while, right? And proceed at the next meeting. Everyone agree?
So we have a motion by Sandy, there's a second.
Yeah, I'll second the motion to defer.
John?
Yeah, we're just that one. Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's defer all of the ordinances.
Oh, okay, you just want to
Otherwise,
stop.
we'll be here till
Sure.
seven or so,
Oh, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to call for the vote then, Sandy?
Oh, yes. Do we all agree?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Let's defer to the next meeting.
Great.
Okay, great. I think,
We have
Yeah.
future agenda items.
yeah, I didn't have anything specifically, just, I figured our landmarks ordinance would probably take a couple meetings, so. Yeah, is there anything else, people want to talk about at future meetings?
For future meetings, I'll let you know whether to put it on there.
Okay.
That,
Yeah, as I said in the beginning, if anyone, comments too, if you have anything you want to talk about at our next agenda, feel free to email it to me and then I'll, add it to our.
There's one that I do want to flag, and that is, because we are, well, without getting into discussion of any of it, we should come up with a process for deciding about the payments for historic markers.
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah,
Yeah,
because
that
we've
one.
never done one before, so.
No, but there should be some
Yes.
type of rules, otherwise, yeah.
yeah, so we,
Mhm. Like a
so,
policy or something.
yeah, without getting into discussion, yes.
Sure, yeah,
Maybe a topic for the next, is that for the next meeting?
Yeah,
Another topic is, remember we had talked about doing a survey of current markers and collecting what's your
Yes.
homes, which are on
We
the,
were going to
and you're gonna
split
divide
it
up the list. I'm not talking, yeah. And you know what? And I'd be okay with waiting till a little warmer weather. to Do
Yeah,
it too, but
We were gonna
um,
split that up among us.
yeah.
yeah,
And-
okay,
I think
and
we should take pictures too.
Yeah,
Of,
that-
of what we have, like on the stone, on the house,
yeah,
standing up, so we can say to people, this is what.
we'll just we'll put it as a topic for next
Yes.
time.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely,
And
good reminder.
yeah, well, and
Oh, and then I will just note, this is not for a future agenda, but there is another, I believe there's a League of Wisconsin Municipalities training for, open meetings and all of that. And so I believe our city administrator, Brian Gatto, he'll be sending, I'll ask him for the information, but I believe the training is on February 13th or 14th. So I'll be sending out that information to anyone that can attend, and I'll provide another, summary of whatever was missed. So,
cool.
yeah. It's just good to, keep up to date on all of those processes and what we can and cannot do. So I'll be sending that out as well.
Great.
and one other future agenda item.
Sure.
Adding a discussion of adding a future standing agenda item for staff updates.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, as a matter of fact, since our group says we need one alder, it looks as though, Alderman
Oh,
Jackson.
Alder
Jackson is perhaps not going to be an alderman. He's not
Yes.
renewed his request to do that, so then we have to,
The
So-
council, city council will decide that once
Daylight.
elections happen.
do you know when elections are?
April,
Yeah,
but April 1st, but I think we're drifting away from.
yes, yeah.
Yes, that's in the, we ended the meet, we
Yeah,
ended the
it's still
meeting, right?
part of the agenda, yeah, so,
That's a future topic, because he's now
Right.
our chair, and so we would have to revote then. And do
yes,
the
so
same
that,
thing.
yeah, and that we'll take that up in May,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
okay.
Cool.
Well, so we're at the end of our agenda, Sandy, you can adjourn the meeting,
Okay, does everyone agree meeting is adjourned?
okay, great,
Stay warm, Tom.
yeah.
I'll
Thanks
do
for
my
joining.
best.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, so the